Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wood. Today we're going to be learning about something we see, touch, and use every single day. I'm talking about paper. But before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell fact from fiction. Consider this. Humans are not the only creatures on Earth to make paper. In fact, we weren't the first. Our modern paper-making methods were based on things learned from insects. What do you think? Is that an actual fact? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Our word for today is papyrus, P-A-P-Y-R-U-S. Papyrus is a material similar to thick paper that was used in ancient times as a writing surface. It was made from the pith or the soft center tissue of the papyrus plant, a tall reed that grew plentifully in the marshy areas around the Nile River in Egypt. The process of making it involved harvesting the plant, peeling the outer rind, and slicing the inner pith into thin strips. These strips were laid out in two layers, one horizontal and one vertical, soaked in water and pressed together. The natural sticky sap of the plant would fuse the strips together as they dried, creating a long, durable sheet. The word papyrus is used in Latin and Greek, but its origins trace all the way back to ancient Egyptian. While we don't know the exact Egyptian word, it's the ancestor of our modern word for paper. For thousands of years, papyrus was the most important writing material in the ancient world, used for everything from religious texts and literature to official documents and personal letters. Finding ancient papyrus scrolls has given historians an incredible window into what life was like thousands of years ago. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about paper. Number 1. The invention of paper as we know it is credited to a court official in ancient China. While the Egyptians had papyrus, the paper we use today, made from mashed up plant fibers, was invented around 105 CE by a man named Cai Lun, who worked for the emperor of the Han Dynasty in China. Before his invention, people in China wrote on more cumbersome materials like bamboo strips, which were very heavy, or they used silk, which was very expensive. Cai Lun figured out how to create a much better writing surface by mashing up things like mulberry bark, hemp fibers, old rags, and even fish nets. He mixed these materials with water to create a pulp, then pressed the pulp into a thin sheet and let it dry in the sun. The result was a lightweight, affordable, and effective writing surface. This invention was so revolutionary that the process was kept a state secret in China for centuries. It slowly spread along the Silk Road, eventually reaching the Middle East and then Europe, forever changing how information was recorded and shared across the world. Number 2. Recycling 1 ton of paper can save an incredible amount of energy. We all know that recycling paper is good for the environment because it saves trees, but the energy savings are just as impressive. Recycling 1 ton of paper, that's 2,000 pounds, saves enough energy to power the average American home for 6 whole months. It also saves about 7,000 gallons of water and reduces greenhouse gas emissions significantly compared to making new paper from raw wood. This is because turning trees into paper is a very energy-intensive process. It involves harvesting, transporting logs, debarking them, and then grinding them down into pulp using heavy machinery and heat. When we recycle, we skip most of those steps. We start with existing paper, which is much easier to break down into pulp again. So every time you toss a piece of paper into the recycling bin, you're not just saving a tree, you're helping to conserve a huge amount of our planet's resources. Number 3, a record-breaking ball of paper was built to raise awareness about wasting paper. Instead of just being a quirky project, one of the world's largest paper balls was created with a powerful message. In December 2018, a company called Inspection Expert, now known as Ideagen, set a world record for a massive ball of paper weighing 576 pounds. The giant sphere stood over 9 feet tall and measured 33 feet around. And impressively, it was built without any glue or tape. The ball was constructed using only recycled cardboard, paper, and paper cord collected from schools in Wake County, North Carolina. The entire purpose of this project was to raise awareness about the paper waste and to encourage more efficient, paperless solutions in the manufacturing industry. It's a wonderful example of how a fun, record-breaking challenge can be used to highlight a serious issue and inspire positive change. Number 4. Old paper turns yellow because of a natural component left over from the wood. Have you ever noticed how old newspapers or books left in the sun turn yellow and brittle? This happens because of a substance called lignin, which is a natural polymer found in the cell walls of wood. Lignin is what gives wood its stiffness and rigidity. It's like the glue that holds the wood fibers together. When paper is made from wood pulp, much of the lignin is left in, especially in lower cost papers like newsprint. The problem is that lignin is not very stable. When it's exposed to light and oxygen in the air, it begins to oxidize, which is a chemical reaction that breaks it down. This process creates new molecules called chromophores, which are excellent at absorbing light. To our eyes, this light absorption makes the paper appear yellow or brownish. Higher quality, acid-free archival paper is made by removing the lignin, which is why it can stay white for hundreds of years. And our fifth and final fun fact for today, it's nearly impossible to fold a piece of paper in half more than 8 times, but if you could, you would reach the moon in just 42 folds. You may have heard that you can't fold a piece of paper in half more than 7 or 8 times. For a standard sheet of paper, this is basically true. Think about it. Every time you fold a paper in half, it's getting half as long but twice as thick. With each fold, the paper gets exponentially thicker and smaller, requiring more and more energy to make the next crease. The current world record for a single sheet is 12 folds, achieved by a high school student named Brittany Gallivan in 2002. She used a very, very long piece of tissue paper, nearly a mile long, and also developed the mathematical equations to explain the limits of folding. But what if you could keep folding? This is where the true power of exponential growth becomes mind-boggling. A standard piece of paper is about 0.1 millimeters thick. So you fold it in half, it's 0.2 millimeters thick. You fold it in half again, it's not adding another tenth of a millimeter, it's doubling that 0.2, so it becomes 0.4 millimeters. Fold it in half again, it becomes 0.8. It's doubling with every fold. So if you could fold it 25 times, its thickness would stretch over 1 kilometer high. If you could somehow manage 42 folds, the stack of paper would be thick enough to reach the moon. And it doesn't stop there. Just 51 folds would get you to the sun. And an unbelievable 103 folds would create a stack of paper thicker than the entire observable universe. Now for some news you can use. Did you know you can easily recycle your own paper at home and create beautiful, unique sheets of stationery, art paper, or greeting cards? All you need are some common household items. You'll want scrap paper like junk mail, old homework, or newspaper, a blender, a tub or basin large enough to submerge your hands, water, and a simple screen. You can make your own screen by stretching a piece of window screen or fine mesh over an old picture frame or embroidery hoop. Finally, you'll just need some towels or sponges. First, you tear off scrap paper into small pieces and soak them in warm water for about an hour. Then, put a handful of the soaked paper into a blender, add more water, and blend it until you have a smooth, soupy mixture called pulp. Pour this pulp into your tub and add more water. Now, dip your screen into the pulp mixture and lift it out flat, trying to keep an even layer of pulp on top. Let the water drain, then carefully place the screen pulp side down onto a towel. Use a sponge to press on the back of the screen to squeeze out as much water as possible. Gently lift the screen, leaving your new paper sheet on the towel. You can let it air dry or place another towel on top and press it with a heavy book. Once it's completely dry, you have your very own piece of handmade recycled paper. Now for the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked if human beings aren't the only ones making paper. Could we have actually learned a bit about making paper from insects? Well, that's a fact. The original paper makers of the natural world were wasps. For millions of years, wasps have been building their nests by chewing up wood fibers and mixing them with their saliva to form a pulp. They then spread this pulp out in thin layers, which dry into a strong, durable, paper-like material. This natural process is remarkably similar to how we make paper. In the 18th century, a French scientist named René-Antoine Fauchon de Rémy was studying wasps and had a brilliant idea. He observed them scraping wood from fence posts and turning it into nests, and he thought, if a tiny wasp can turn wood into paper, why can't we? He wrote about his observations, and his work inspired others to experiment with using wood pulp, which eventually led to the modern paper industry we have today. Now, I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about paper with me today. Be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.